Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order on November 4th, 2025, and ask the city clerk to please call roll.
Commissioner Henderson,
Present.
Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Commissioner Wilson,
Present.
Mayor Bray.
Here. I will ask Commissioner Wilson to say the invocation, and then we'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you on behalf of all of us who are gathered here today for all of the many blessings that we have. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work. Please provide your guidance for us tonight and for those who are making decisions that impact other issues across our country. Thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Manager, are there any deletions to the agenda?
Mayor, none this evening.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda is a proclamation. November is Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Month. There's been a lot of publicity and a lot of discussion recently about homelessness, and the city is proud to offer a proclamation this month in honor of all the agencies and those out there, not only the folks that are homeless, but the agencies and the folks that support the initiatives to try to support those that need it most. So, I will, as has become tradition, I'll come up here and read this proclamation, and then I guess you and I will get the photo op. Okay? Whereas hunger and homelessness continue to be serious challenges for far too many individuals and families and communities across our nation, and whereas in the United States millions of people struggle to meet their basic needs, spending nights without shelter or facing food insecurity each day, and whereas individuals and families experiencing hunger and homelessness often face barriers to employment, healthcare, education, and safety that perpetuates cycles of poverty. And whereas communities, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and volunteers across Paducah are working tirelessly to provide food, shelter, and critical services to those in need. And whereas Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Month is an opportunity to educate the public about the realities of poverty, to celebrate the dedicated service providers who work to meet immediate needs, and to call for systemic solutions that address the root causes of hunger and homelessness. And whereas every person deserves access to safe, affordable housing and nutritious food, and it is the collective responsibility of our community to ensure these fundamental human rights are protected. Now, therefore, I, George P. Bray, Mayor of the City of Paducah, proclaim November 2025 as Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Month.
Mayor, you want to step to the... Get your steps in.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is we have Jeremy Bumpus here, the Executive Director of the Paducah Transit Authority. I know Jeremy and his board have been working hard over the last 6 to 12 months to kind of transform the system, the bus system that we have in Paducah, and been hearing a lot about it, so I've been looking forward to having you here.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to present today. I'll be very brief, but just want to go over the major updates we've made to our fixed route system here in the city and how it impacts the city. So if you all turn your attention here. So I want to start by saying, for those of you who may not be familiar, so PATS has been in existence since 1981, serving Paducah, and it's since expanded. And so we now serve 4 counties, of course, McCracken County, Ballard, Marshall, and Northern Graves. And last fiscal year, we did 192,000 trips between fixed route and demanded response, what we called our scheduled service. So the major updates are what you're looking at here to our fixed route system. We have 4 fixed routes, red, blue, green, and yellow, that operate throughout the city. And I'm just going to point out a few things, and then I will finish up. What you see here, these dots here, these are what you call designated bus stops. So in PAT's 40-plus years of existence, it never had designated bus stops. We operated on a hail system, which was dangerous, it was inefficient. And so with the work of a consulting firm, we were able to determine where these bus stops should be. They conducted a transit study that took about 6 months to complete, where they interviewed our staff, interviewed passengers, collected data to help us determine where these stops are. So as you see, we have approximately 130 stops between those 4 routes all throughout the city. And then of course here, so with the bus stops, which is a major improvement to our system, I forgot about the lag here. Along with the bus stops, we introduced a real-time app. So now passengers are able to track our buses in real time. And you can see here, so our system runs from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 6 days a week, with this last run upcoming at 6 o'clock. But you're able again to see the buses move in real time. So as you can imagine, that helps with planning, it helps with efficiency, and it improves the rider experience.
So that is live?
Yes, this is
Okay.
live. So this is their green line, which as you see right now, it must be stopped. But you're able to see the capacity of the bus. You're able to see the next stop. Well, I'm sorry, let me click off of that. But if you were to click on a stop, for example, Southside Walmart, you can see the bus is expected there in 18 minutes. And then the next stop for Southside Walmart would be 6:30 or 6:29. So those times are approximate based on the GPS location of the bus in real time. So you can imagine how useful and helpful this is to all the passengers. And for people who aren't from the city, trying to navigate and get around the city. I'll point out a couple other things with this, and then I'll wrap this up. During that transit study, we were able to improve or make some changes to our routes. So our yellow line, which is our busiest route, it's what we call our mall route, we were able to extend that out to the new Goodwill location. And we were also able to add Anderson Court, because we wanted to make sure all of the housing authority properties were serviced, and that was one that wasn't getting serviced. And also, we did not have service to downtown Paducah. So our vehicles did not go beyond, our fixed route buses did not go beyond 4th Street. And so now we have 2 designated stops, one here right on the corner of, Madison and 2nd, and the other is right beyond the Quilt Museum. So anyone who's in downtown Paducah who wants to access public transportation via our fixed route now has the option to do that, downtown Paducah. And so I'll leave you all with this. There's so much more I could talk about with this system, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So a lot of work, time, and money went into this, of course, with the support of the city, so we really appreciate that. But why this matters for the community, it improves rider experience, the overall efficiency of our routes, the safety and accessibility, and then I think it looks great for the community. It shows that Paducah is willing to invest in smart infrastructure, and that we're moving forward. So as the city continues to grow, PATS will continue to grow, and we want to improve, and we want to be along for the ride, because there are eyes on us nationally. We are the only, and I'm sure this has been discussed in previous meetings, but Paducah is now an urbanized area. We're the only urbanized and rural transit authority in the entire state of Kentucky. So we receive federal funding directly from the FTA and directly from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. So yes, we're the only one in the state. So there are a lot of eyes on us right now because we're operating by serving rural counties and serving an urbanized area. There's no other city or area or transit authority in the state that does that. And to add to it, we are the largest public transportation agency west of Bowling Green. So again, this puts a lot of eyes on us. So we want to make sure when people are talking about Paducah and people are talking about PATS and they talk about public transportation, we can pull this up and be proud of it. So I'll leave you all with this. And this is typically how I wrap up presentations because most of us are fortunate enough to have our own transportation. So many people are not familiar with PATS. But there are several individual people in this community that solely rely on us for their transportation, and we take great pride in that. So, again, we appreciate the support of the commissioners and the City of Paducah, and again, we hope to continue to improve our services.
Great job, Jeremy. Questions? Any questions from commissioners?
What was the name? Is it an app or can they just go to the
Yes,
website?
great question. So this is the online version. So this is a link. It's on our website, pats.mytransit.live, and it's also an app. So if you go to our website, paducahtransit.com, you can find the information on how to download the app, whether it's in the Google Play Store or on the Apple Store. And we also have information brochures in our lobby. We're located at 850 Harrison Street for anyone who doesn't know. You can come into our lobby and pick up information brochures. It has new maps, new schedules, information on how to download the app. And again, this is new to our entire community, so there have been a lot of questions. So we encourage people, don't hesitate to call. Don't hesitate to come into the office and ask us questions because it is a big change for a lot of people. So the name of the app, it's called My Ride. Yep, My Ride. So if you go to our website, paducahtransit.com, there's information on how to download that app.
You said that the yellow is your busiest route,
Yes, sir.
and that is the mall route.
Yes, sir.
So has there been any discussion of late as to how you might be able to service individuals from the mall to the city after you all shut down?
That has been a discussion of extending hours. What we found, and I think eventually it will happen, but what we found is the ridership wouldn't be there. The logic behind that is once you get beyond 7, 8 o'clock, what else is open in the city of Paducah? Now, of course, people going home and getting off work, but is the demand there? And is that enough to pay drivers and have staff available to transport individuals? Years ago, this was before my time, there was an agreement or something done with Information Age Park with a business out there, and they wanted extended hours. And what was determined was the ridership wasn't there. So to have staff available and to extend the hours, it wasn't needed at the time, but that's not to say that it won't in the future. So the demand, if we get there, then yeah, we'll definitely look at extending those hours.
So it's a good question. So, I mean, so it sounds like you're open to considering extending hours based upon demand. So how do you determine that?
So typically it
demand.
comes with some sort of survey or study. And that was actually a part of our transit study, asking about extended hours, and the demand just wasn't there. And I think it's just the community we live in. When you think of after hours, so for example, tonight, what's open after 9 p.m.?
Well, I guess my issue is the mall closes
Correct.
10 p.m., so there is your,
That's true. That is true. And that, you're right, there, you will have people who need rides home, but will there be the demand to support that? How many people are we talking about? You know, and then of course, this is public transportation. So how many of those individuals have their own transportation? There are a number of people that work out in that area. The majority of them don't work at the mall that use our services though. Most of them work at the restaurants, Walmart. And so unfortunately, we're not there yet, but again, I'm not opposed to the idea of extending those hours.
Do Uber and Lyft operate in Paducah?
To my knowledge, there
No.
is, but it's very, very,
It's very
Well,
limited.
it's funny because I did which surprised me, I did both Uber and Lyft yesterday from the airport, just a random time. And there was, Lyft would say they're they were gonna be there in like 20 minutes, and then Uber said they'd be there in like 18 minutes. So I didn't know they even exist. You never see them around, so I get, maybe it's very spotty.
It's very random.
Yeah.
It's very random. There's drivers out there, but they drive when they want to.
Yeah.
They don't drive when they don't want to. And, you know, one of our issues is they're not downtown at night on weekends,
Yeah.
you know, when people want it. And so far, we've not been able to crack the code, you know, on how to increase that.
I think we will see an increased need late at night when one of the new flights coming into Berkeley is going to be landing,
Yeah.
I think 11 or something.
Yeah, that's going to be a
And-
challenge for this entire community. And I know PATS typically is the answer for a lot of that transportation, but our primary purpose is public transportation. So when you get into those flights and Uber rides, that's more so private, and that's not what we're designed to do. And there's some restrictions in what we can and can't do when you're dealing with federal dollars. So I think that's an issue as a community we can hopefully solve soon. Because that after-hours transportation is going to be really, really important. But during work days, between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., we got you.
Y'all are on it.
So
But you're not going to the airport.
we will, but just during those times.
Oh, you are?
We will.
Airport is a stop?
Well, it's not a stop, but
Oh,
we have
it's a
we have our
demand, okay.
scheduled service. So this is more so, what I'm showing you here is our fixed route, our scheduled service, which many of you probably see around town, the smaller vehicles. We call those cutaways, and they're white. That's our scheduled transportation. So you can call 24 hours in advance, and between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., we'll pick you up and take you anywhere. That's our door-to-door service.
Okay, a couple more questions. Do you track how many downloads you've had on your app so far?
Not yet. We've just released this October 16th, so we haven't
Okay.
gotten that data yet, but I'm sure we can get that with the developers who created the app. That actually is a really good question. I may find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I were you, I'd want to track the number of downloads.
Okay.
You know, which would, you know, if it's too low, you know, then, you know, we need to promote it.
Yeah,
You know,
for
and
sure.
maybe the city can help you promote that.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know, get it
absolutely.
out to people, because, I mean, I think that's a real valuable service.
Yeah, for sure. I think so too. So yeah, I'll work on getting that information. I'd like to get probably a month or two's worth of data to see
Sure.
where we are.
Sure.
And then I can,
So my second question is, you mentioned the number of routes, 192,000, that was a number
yeah,
of
192,000 trips.
trips.
Correct.
So do you track the number of people that use your service?
So the way that we do it is they're called unlinked passenger trips. So essentially when someone gets off and gets on, that's one trip. So over the course of the day, you know, the same person could count multiple times. So I assume that's what you're asking, correct?
Yeah, so the 192,000 does represent in people getting on or off the bus.
Correct.
So if two people get off, is that two or one?
Two.
That's two.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So the only duplication on that would be if they rode more than one in one day.
Right.
Okay.
And again, that's split between fixed route and demand and response. Just a quick breakdown. So the fixed route trips was 146,000 approximately, and the demand and response, which is our scheduled service, was about 46,000.
Oh, wow.
And the demand and response is spread amongst 4 counties. So you're talking Marshall, McCracken, Ballard, Northern Graves, and then of course, long distance trips. Most people probably don't know this, but well, most of you know this. Paducah, there are medical procedures and appointments that can't be done here in the city. And so people have to go to Lexington and Nashville. We do those trips primarily for Medicaid patients. So we will take people to Lexington for those surgeries or for those appointments. And that's quite frequent. So those 192,000 trips, many of those were long distance also.
So final question, do you track the number of trips over time? So if you look at 2022, 23, 24, 25, and what does the trend look like?
It's up and down, especially with the COVID year. You know, I joined PATS in 2022.
Right.
So we were trending at about 200,000 plus during COVID, or pre-COVID. Of course, COVID, you had a major dip, so we're just now getting to back kind of the pre-COVID numbers. hovering around 200,000, and I think this year we will surpass 200,000 based on where we're trending. The ridership just tends to increase year over year. So I think we'll get back to our pre-COVID numbers, and my goal is to hopefully get to 215,000 within the next few years.
Very good. Great presentation. Thanks for all your
Thank
hard
you.
work. Any other
Thank you.
questions from anybody? Okay, thank you
thank
for
you. I
being here,
appreciate it.
Jeremy.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. The city clerk will read the items recommended for approval unless any commissioner has an item that they'd like removed for the separate discussion. Hearing none, I'd ask the city clerk to read, please.
Approve minutes for the October 21st, 2025 special call meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Receive and file documents, personnel actions, a municipal order authorizing and directing the city manager to initiate a request for proposals for preferred docking agreements along the city's riverfront. A municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute an application for a U.S. Department of Justice Bulletproof Vest Grant Program in the amount of $8,589 for the purchase of 21 body armor vests, accepting any grant funds awarded by the U.S. Department of Justice and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. A municipal order authorizing the purchase of P25 compliant mobile and portable radios from Communications International in the total amount of $91,267.71 to be used by the Paducah Police Department, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. A municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute an application for an fiscal year 2026 Kentucky League of Cities liability grant in the amount of $3,000 for partial reimbursement of sidewalk repairs and improvements by accepting any grant funds awarded by KLC and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. A municipal order authorizing and directing the city manager to initiate a request for bids for replacement of the main drain line at the fire station number 1. Municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 in the amount of $7,630 to the contract with Lake Assault Boats Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. We have one municipal order on the agenda for tonight, and I know Chief Laird is here, but I'll go ahead and ask the city clerk to please read it.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Paducah and the Paducah Independent School District to allow 911 and first responders to access security cameras."
So moved.
Second.
Good evening, everyone. What you have before you is an agreement that has already been approved by the Paducah School Board. They implemented new camera systems and new security systems within the last few months. And in talking with Superintendent Shively, he had the idea of allowing us access to those cameras for real-time situations, emergency situations. And this agreement just kind of sets some parameters for when we would access it. It would allow access for our 911 folks to be able to see what's going on in real time, or police and fire, but it would only be during emergency situations.
Questions? I don't have any. Thank you, Brian. Call roll, please.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. So we have 4 ordinances to introduce tonight. This is the first reading of all of these, and I'll ask the city clerk to please read the first one.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to introduce an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky to enact payments for board members." This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance amends the City of Paducah Code of Ordinances to establish consistent compensation for voting members of various city boards, commissions, councils, and advisory bodies at a rate of $100 per meeting for chairpersons and $75 per meeting for members. Payments authorized by this ordinance will begin on January 1st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. We've talked about this significantly in the past. Any questions or thoughts about where we're going with this?
How do we determine the amount? I know we studied other cities and what they were, so, okay.
Yep, we studied other cities. We looked at several different cities, and specifically ones kind of in similar size. It ranges from as low as $25 for a member, all the way up to probably $200 for some of your utility boards and those kind of things. So we kind of took kind of a middle approach.
I got you.
How are we gonna track that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So tracking will be, I've met with all of our internal departments that staff these boards. So if you're looking at the impacted boards, for example, a lot of these fall under planning. So planning would help them track attendance, so it'll be fully based on attendance. And typically, they'll be paid quarterly. So let's say you attended 3 meetings in the quarter, you would be paid for those 3 meetings. It will be through direct deposit payments. They'll be set up as vendors in our system and receive payments that way. For the boards that are mainly external and have, like Paducah Water, Paducah Power, those type of boards, we'll be working directly with Claudia for the most part to make sure that the payments are made through our systems.
And if those boards have special called meetings, extra meetings, they will be paid for those as well?
They will be paid for all regular and special called meetings. They wouldn't be paid for any like volunteer or event-related type things.
Questions? You seem, with your nose is all scrunched up. What's the
I
deal?
just got my glasses on. You can't tell that.
Oh, yeah, we can.
We're going to take a vote on that? Okay, thank you, and thanks, and just to remind all of us, I guess, you know, we took a look at what this would cost us, and it is going to cost about, as I remember, about $100,000 a year is what the cost. And so, but again, when we looked at it, analyzed it, I mean, I do a lot of board appointments, you know, you all approve them. You know, the boards that we appoint to here do so much great work in the city, and they're so important to the city. And so having them engaged and active and wanting to attend meetings, I think helps the city. And also helps us attract a higher quality board member. So. Okay. I will ask the city clerk to read the next ordinance.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance creating a new article of Chapter 110, Traffic and Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, related to golf carts. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance allows golf carts to operate on City of Paducah streets with posted speed limits of 35 miles per hour or less. Golf carts must be inspected by McCracken County Sheriff's Office, permitted by the Paducah Police Department, insured and operated only between sunrise and sunset. Operators must hold a valid driver's license, display a slow-moving vehicle emblem, and follow all traffic laws. Golf carts may cross state-maintained roadways where the speed limit is 35 miles per hour or less, but cannot be driven along those roadways. A $25 permit fee is required, valid until the golf cart changes ownership. The police department may deny, suspend, or revoke permits for safety or compliance violations with appeals rights through the city manager. Exemptions are provided for city-owned golf carts, riverboat tourism shuttles at the riverfront, and carts within permitted special events. Violations are misdemeanors punishable by fines of $20 to $500.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we talked about this one.
Just briefly, but how would the McCracken County Sheriff's Office go about inspecting it? Does someone have to take their golf cart there, or
They
what
can-
happens if they don't have a trailer?
They can take it there, or they can have them come out to inspect. So the KRS authorizes $5 fees for inspection at the Sheriff's Department, and it authorizes up to $15 for having to travel to do an inspection.
And is the $25 permit required? That's annually?
That is a one-time It is a
One time you pay a
one-time,
$25 fee.
one-time $25 fee.
Until it changes, until the
Until it
golf cart
changes.
was
Yeah,
changed
changes owners.
ownership.
Correct. Trying to make it a little bit easier for folks.
And to that point, that permit, they would not have to bring the golf cart to the police department because it's already been inspected at the sheriff's department. So it would not require them to have to also transport it or us to go do that. They would have to bring the information to the police department just to show they had everything. So,
Okay.
So my concern with this one, I mean, I'm for this, but my concern has been enforcement of the age limit, enforcement of the speed limit, and I know that that's going to tax our police force more. Chief, are you going to be doing anything special or just watching for, sorry to drag you up here, but this has been my only concern, and I think, I have friends that live in the Pines, and, one of them was telling me about, this would be a 13-year-old kid whipped around a corner, going like a bat out of Hades, and I know I'm just concerned about how we enforce it.
I think that's going to be, this is obviously something new that we haven't dealt with before, so we'll have to just tackle each thing on a case-by-case basis, really. Obviously, if somebody looks like they're extremely underage, then, we'll deal with that. But, each one will be really no different than any other traffic violation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, the next two ordinances are related to prohibiting the sale of dogs and cats by retail pet stores. And this is something we have discussed previously. We had a presentation the last meeting or the one before. I'm going to let the city clerk read the first ordinance, and then I have some things to discuss.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky to add thereto a section prohibiting the sale of dogs and cats by retail pet stores and in public places. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance amends Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah to prohibit the sale of dogs and cats by retail pet stores and in public places within city limits. Violations of the ordinance will result in fines of $500 per offense, with each day of continued violation considered a separate offense.
So moved.
So move. I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
So, today, we've got an email that went out to all the commissioners in support of this. I think everybody got that. And then also, you may have gotten, I'm not sure if everybody got it, but there was an email and a request for a call with me from a representative, something called the Pet Advocacy Network.
I received that one. That's, I
I got it,
forwarded
too.
that to you.
I think everybody did.
Okay.
So I took a call from her this afternoon, and for 15 minutes, she pretty much, went on about their opposition to this and why. And I can share that email with everybody. But they don't believe that the city should be in the business of preventing, of saying what can be sold in pet stores. They don't believe that this law, this ordinance in any way would stop or hinder puppy mills. And in fact, they went as far to say as PetSmart, who I think we were, I don't want to say led to believe, but it was said here that PetSmart was in compliance and didn't participate in this. But apparently, I was told that in Texas earlier this year, PetSmart came out against this because they wanted to be able to sell animals, I guess, in certain locations. and there was a firestorm of, backlash against them from people, Humane Society, people who were trying to stop the puppy mills. And so I think we've landed right in the middle of, or what it's been said to me is that we've landed in the middle of a sort of a national discussion, between two interest groups, both with, I'm sure, good intentions. And so I think we need to take just a little time to do a little research. Certainly, I'm not sure how much we can get done before we have a second reading, but I'm just going to say, let's take a pause, a time out, and do a little more research so we're a little more informed, because all this came up today.
Let me have a question. When they did that talk or presentation last time we met, I was scratching my head going, where'd this come from? Because someone had to be, or somehow it got promoted. What was the driver for that, I guess, is the question, because the way they described it and the way I understand it, it's kind of like a solution looking for a problem, because I don't think we have this happening in Paducah. So, but I didn't know why we had the legs to end up getting something for us to consider, or why there was a need for that to.
Man, I want to be careful, because I really don't know enough about this. I'm just not that informed.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a big network of folks who provide for adoption of animals.
Yeah.
And, okay, so Todd Blevins? Yeah.
I'm here, Mayor. I didn't want to be out of order, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to step up if needed.
Yeah, why don't you?
Sure, sure.
I mean, give us your perspective. I mean,
Sure.
and
Yeah, I guess first, Mayor, in regards to the PetSmart incident down in Texas. So yes, that came up in Texas, and what I can tell you is that was actually I want to speak candidly. That was actually an outright lie. I have media reports that we can send you from independent media sources that the group claimed that PetSmart was in support of selling puppies and kittens in their store. They are not. I obviously am an advocate, but
Sure.
that's why I mentioned the media. Happy to send you all the media reports of that. As far as the nationalization issue, so we actually, following my presentation to you all last month, we set up at a couple of community events here in town. One of them was the Barktober event. I think that was on October 11th. But we had some postcards that we distributed we had available for people to sign in support of the ordinance, and actually brought those for you all tonight. So we sent those out in partnership with the McCracken County Humane Society, who you all heard from last time, in addition to Rover Dunover, the local dog groomer. I don't know if you all go there or not, but Rover Dunover was and is very enthusiastic about this. They actually had these sitting on the front desk for whenever folks bring their dogs in. So I was going to leave these for you all tonight. I counted 32 signed cards. These are all Paducah residents. So I just wanted to kind of relocalize that a little bit. I understand what you're saying, Mayor, about the nationalization.
I think my concern, and again, I want to do a little more research, but my concern is limiting businesses who do not want to be limited.
Sure.
I
Sure.
mean, and kind of to use Commissioner Smith's, I mean, we don't, if it's a solution looking for a problem, I mean, I'm just not sure that we have the problem. I mean, I understand when it comes to pets, there's passion.
Sure.
I mean, we all love
Oh,
our
yeah.
pets. And so everybody's passionate about it. And I just think, from our perspective, I think it's important that we make an informed decision.
I understand that, Mayor.
And hear all sides.
Sure, and if I may answer your question, Commissioner, about why now, I think that trade group, and I do want to say that is an industry trade group, that despite the name Pet Advocacy Network, they used to be called the Pet Industry Joint Advisory Council. So they are there to represent their interests.
So
But
what are their interests from your perspective?
so I can go in the weeds on this for you. So the board is made up of various pet store voices. And one of the voices that's on that board, I'm not sure who you spoke with, but there is a pet store chain called Petland. And I want to distinguish between PetSmart, which does not sell dogs and cats in stores. I think you all heard from Tracy with McCracken County Humane. They actually
did.
do what we call the right thing in partnering with them. Petland, on the other hand, which is they have a seat on the board, they do sell dogs and cats. And so I would venture to say, Mayor, that they are the ones that would drive any opposition to this. But again, they are an outlier in their own industry, and I'm happy to provide you all with all kinds of information on that. And I don't want to just pick on them, because it's not I don't view this as a tit for tat or anything like that. But that is going to be their interest. But to come back to the commissioner's question, I would venture to say the only reason that they are weighing in on this is because maybe they would like to bring a puppy store into the community. I think otherwise they would be doing this in a
And when you say
vacuum.
puppy store, you
Yes,
mean
sir.
a store that buys from puppy mills, or a store that that would buy puppies from and sell puppies from reputable breeders?
So it would be the former, because in reality, Mayor, the second one is not, that just doesn't happen.
Doesn't exist.
No, and the reason for that is if you think about when you go into one of these puppy stores, they are going to have all kinds of these novelty, fancy breeds. Well, the only way that they can keep the shelf stocked, so to speak, is by working with breeders who can churn them out again and always have inventory. So that whenever you go into the store, you're able to see, oh, there's that Maltipoo or whatever I would like. Now, again, I mean, you all know you don't have that problem right now. And the reason that I wanted to emphasize all the preventative problems last time was because, as I said then, once a business like that does come into the community, the associated problems that I talked about last time, not just the puppy mills, but the selling sick dogs, the consumer lending practices, those follow. So, as I said last time, an ounce of prevention is always worth more than whatever the other part of that saying is.
So what is your organization?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm the Kentucky State Director with an organization called Humane World for Animals. So I wanted to set the record straight, by the way. I believe the mayor thought I was from Indiana. I live in Kentucky. I've spent a few years in Indiana, and I think I butchered my explanation of that. But I live over in Richmond, Kentucky. So I'm our state director, and what I do in that role is, obviously, in addition to advocacy, partner with shelters and rescues all over the state to try to help them in whatever way we can. And this is one part of that through policy work. So on the way down today, I stopped at 2 county shelters on the way down to talk about how can we help them. And with another county, I'm working on an ordinance there to update their vicious dog ordinance. So this, I'm not saying that McCracken County brought this to us. We're doing it in partnership. But that's my role, is to try to help them,
So
to be their advocate.
Humane World for Animals is the old Humane Society, is that right?
Yes, we changed our name,
Right,
as
so
if to convolute matters any further. So yes, Mayor, we used to be called the Humane Society of the United States, and we rebranded in February of this year. So
Okay.
I left my jacket in the car. So it's got
So
the
you're
weight.
also part of a national organization?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But I'm the, state. I view myself as much more local than that.
And so what other cities, I think you went over this last time. There were, how many cities in Paducah, in Kentucky?
Six.
So
Yes,
only
ma'am.
6
So-
at this point have passed it.
Right,
What are
right.
they?
Yep, Elizabethtown, I'll do them in chronological order. Elizabethtown was first, Radcliffe right next door, Louisville, Lexington, Frankfort, and then Campbell County passed, up in northern Kentucky, passed the first county level ordinance. And in most of those instances, they did come to us to say, either we've had a problem with one of the puppy stores in the past. Like in E-Town, they had one of those stores. That store vacated. But they then passed the ordinance because they realized all the problems that were rife in this industry. They said, let's go ahead and take care of this before another one of those can come in.
Any other questions from anybody? So I think I appreciate you being here.
Sure.
Coming all the way down here from Richmond.
Sure.
And I can tell you're passionate about this. I heard just as much passion on the other end today.
Sure.
So it was like, but I think from our standpoint, we just want to make the best decision we can. And we'll huddle internally and figure out what our next steps are.
I understand, Mayor, and
keep you informed.
I'll get you some follow-up information on the
Be great.
Texas thing and,
That'd be great.
whatever else we need to do. So thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
I'm sorry, Mr. City Manager, where should I leave the cards?
if you leave them right there, we
Lindsay, or-
will take care of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And Mayor, so I spoke to the same lady, I suppose, and I told her that she probably needs to talk to you as well, but she did mention that her organization has some regulations that they could recommend for us instead of, because what I got, she wanted something different than an outright ban, so.
Yeah, she said that to me
Okay.
too, and so we went a little deep on that. I said, so you're telling me that you've got an ordinance, that would be acceptable? And she said, well, no, we just got some language. So I'm not sure really what she's got for sure, but I think she's going to be watching this tonight, and so she may be providing us some additional information. But
So just from a procedural measure, you have introduced it. There is no timeline on the clock for you to adopt, or even to adopt, just because you have introduced it. So just because, I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
that is clear, is just because it's been introduced, it would take a second reading for adoption, but you're not required to have a second reading.
It doesn't automatically come up for the next meeting, though,
No.
unless the mayor puts it on the agenda?
there's no-
So
there's
we don't
no-
need to table it?
No, on the introduction, there is no statutory limitation that you have to maintain at the next meeting.
So I would just ask that perhaps before you put it on the agenda, that maybe you poll us, or, I
Sure.
guess you
Sure.
just see
Yeah.
where we are,
We'll
we're wanting
talk
it
about
to
it.
pull back up or not.
Absolutely.
Yep.
we're going to provide information for all of us
Right.
in order to make a better
Right.
informed decision.
Right, yep.
So we'll all be in the loop.
Right. And you could also have an additional discussion without having it up for a second reading if you wanted to.
As long as it's just two of us and not three.
Well, I mean, if you had it under a discussion item without a second reading, you could do that.
Okay, I see what you're saying, okay. All right, let's go on and read the next ordinance. Go ahead and introduce it, so both of them are on, I think they're related.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Section 106-147 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky related to retail merchants to clarify licensing restriction on the sale of live dogs and cats. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance amends Section 106-147 of the Paducah Code of Ordinances to ensure the city's business licensing regulations align with recently adopted prohibitions on the retail sale of live cats and dogs. It clarifies that no business license will be issued or renewed for establishments engaged in selling or offering live dogs or cats, as those activities are now prohibited under Chapter 14, Article 3 of the Code. However, businesses that sell pet supplies or provide space for animal shelters or rescue organizations to showcase adoptable animals may continue to obtain or renew their licenses, provided they comply with applicable regulations.
So moved.
Second.
And this is just changes in the business license in
It
order
adds-
to
it adds.
adapt. Okay. Okay, that's it for our municipal orders and ordinances. And we'll move now to comments from city manager and commissioners.
Yep.
City manager?
Mayor and Commission, as I've done for the last several meetings, just want to update you about the impact to our local finances related to the federal shutdown. We are still financially in a good place. However, did want to make you aware that we have roughly $5.4 million request for reimbursement on our build grant that is out there. Don't know how long that will. We have the funds to cover that until it comes in for a short period of time, because we have some other funds that, but, the longer the federal shutdown does prolonged, or is prolonged, we will start feeling some financial pinches and such that. So I just wanted to kind of keep you up to date. But that's the biggest one that we have out there. I know there's some other activities like the transfer of the Oscar Cross facility, or to the Armory facility to the Oscar Cross, that's been impacted by that, and some other things that we're just keeping an eye on and working with federal delegation to kind of keep them abreast of what, the impact is locally. But just want to assure, right now, we are still in a good financial shape in relationship to that, but the longer it does go on, then we'll have to look at some of those, how it impacts us more locally. And I'll answer any questions about that. No?
There's lots of news about that.
Yeah.
So,
Second one, just want to remind the commission and our public that next Tuesday is Veterans Day, and so we have the Veterans Day Parade as a holiday for the city, so trash service will be adjusted as well, but we've got reveille early in the morning, the parade activities over at Dolly McNutt Park, and the parade starting at, I think, 10 a.m. For the Veterans Day Parade. And so if your schedule allows you, we invite those to participate in that activity. And
What Pam sent out today was 10 o'clock for the awards, 11 o'clock for
for the parade, okay, yeah. 10 o'clock, I had 10 o'clock start
Yeah.
time. Thanks
the
for.
awards at Dolly McNutt.
Yeah. And the parade will actually start from that area as well, too. And then speaking of Dolly McNutt, I encourage you to, when you leave tonight, to look over at Dolly McNutt. You'll notice that one of the projects that we did to increase safety, the lights have been replaced in Dolly McNutt, and it makes it a lot safer, a lot brighter aspect over there. And so kudos to Amy and her team for dogbirding that project and getting it done. And it provides for a safer passageway and the use of that when it gets dark. So
here, Amy.
that's it.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Comments down this way? Anybody?
No comments for them.
I do.
Okay.
I wanted to follow up, perfect timing for tonight on the proclamation that was addressing homelessness, because I really think it's time for us to discuss the request from the Paducah Cooperative Ministry. I didn't get it on the agenda tonight because this was a special called meeting, but I would like to see it on an agenda coming up at a regular meeting, even maybe to vote on it. I think we've all had several conversations. We've all seen the need. We've seen the work that's being done right now by Paducah Cooperative Ministry to build the 50-bed shelter. I know the county recently pledged $200,000, I think $100,000 payment now and $100,000 later. And I would really like to see the city do the same. I think that they have documented the need. They have a really good, strong plan in place. I don't believe anybody's just going to move here from out of the county or come here just because we have the homeless shelter, because it is a check-in at night and a check-out in the morning. It's my understanding that they will help to encourage or get people to the Goodwill Opportunity Center where they can hopefully get them back on their feet. And I just believe it's time for us to step into that. We have done some more funding recently for them to help them, as well as Washington Street and I believe the community kitchen. But I just think it's time that we take that next step to address a desperate need in our community. So I'd like to get it on the agenda, wanted to have it open for discussion. I certainly support it and hope that, you all will as well. If we need to have another formal presentation by PCM, I'm sure they would be here. I didn't call them and ask them to come tonight. I felt like I would just bring it up.
Sure.
That could happen, to have other board members here, but I definitely support it and hope that you all will too.
No, sounds good to me.
Absolutely. I mean, it is indeed a growing need in our community, and I think that both the city and the county should indeed find ways in which we can support PCM and make sure that takes place. It's a big deal. So I think, I agree with you.
Well, I just want to applaud the county, the fiscal court for stepping up, and listen to the presentation and jumping out there. I mean, homelessness, sometimes we get caught up in city-county stuff, but, the city of Paducah is in McCracken County.
That's right.
And so there's homelessness, even though within the city limits, is where you see a lot of the homeless. They're most visible, and where a lot of the agencies are that deal with them. There's homeless folks in both Paducah Independent Schools and in McCracken County Schools. So I would be for, in this case, following the county's lead. And so if it starts off with, we can talk about it, I guess, among ourselves before the next meeting. But I'd certainly, be positive on the first 100,000, coming up, and so we can work. And I appreciate you bringing it up. And I thought it was really kind of groundbreaking.
Yeah, no,
that
I think if the
stepped
county's
out.
doing it, I think that we need to certainly match what they're doing and kind of shows community support.
So I know you were talking about 100,000. I would like for us to look at the 100,000 at the next voting opportunity, and then the second 100,000, maybe follow what the county is doing. I think theirs was just for restrooms, but it would be for construction of the site. And, I know just building it doesn't make it's not going to run just because it's built. They're also going to need a lot of
Amen.
furnishings inside. And, I'm guessing staffing too, but definitely they'll need the furnishings inside. So I just would like for us to keep it, the goal is 200,000, even if it's in 2 payments.
Sounds good. We'll work on a municipal order for the first available meeting. And then the city manager and I need to talk about the funding and where it comes from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, real quick, I forgot to mention, today I went on.
Not your time's up.
It just came to my mind, but I went on a tour with Easter Seals today. I know they have another tour opportunity coming up, and I don't know if anybody else has been on a tour.
Yeah, I'm
of
signed
that
up in
facility.
December. Yeah.
And it was very eye-opening because I never knew what their facility really did. I know
That's-
that some of my friends on the Special Olympics team attend there, and they also provided the artwork in one of our offices here. So it was very eye-opening. They even talked about, we've seen them in the news recently, but I have to say their facilities, their staff, they are a top-notch facility. Everything they do is top-notch, so it was really great. And for anybody in the community that may be interested in doing a tour, I would really recommend it.
I toured the child care facility this morning at 10 o'clock for Grandparents' Day, which was also a book fair. So yes, I was there as well today.
Okay, if nobody has anything else, we don't have an executive session, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second. Let's go.
Call roll.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yeah, aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye.